Hey, hello, my sweet YouTube friends. How are you doing today? Today is Tuesday, and it is around 9 p.m. my time. Yeah. I don't know what time it is in your end. It could be morning, it could be afternoon, it could be night. But anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Mia. I live in Denmark with my husband and 4 cats. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I really hope that you'll consider subscribing. There is a subscribe button right down there, and next to it, you'll find a bell. If you click on the bell, choose all, you'll be notified whenever I put up a new video. Yay! If you're back, hi, welcome back. I hope you all know how much I appreciate you being here. Um, yeah, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and you're more than welcome to write a comment down below, what you're working on while you're listening to me, or how you're doing, or, answer my most likely 1,000 questions throughout this video. So, today we are doing a whip and chat, and if you don't know what that is, WIP, WIP, stands for work in progress, which means that I'm gonna work on this project while I'm chatting with you, and that means that I'm gonna chat your ears off for a while, okay? So what I am working on here is my project for Summer with the Masters 2023. This is a canvas from Naples Outpost. It is called Amethyst, and it is by the artist Alphonse Mucha, and he painted this in year 1900. It is a 50 by 125 centimeters. There is 47 colors, including 2 ABs. The canvas itself is poured glue, and I have, of course, square drills. So yeah, I'm having this upside down right now because that is how I usually, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I still have all the side effects from my medicine. I have this upside down because that is how I usually work on new canvases that are rather large. Eventually I will turn it right again. How sorry, this is my water. How I usually do this so that I don't have issues with my colors is I actually turn my my containers upside down as well. So I don't have any issues finding the right symbol and the right color, because sometimes you can if you aren't, looking closely. So this is how I do it when I have an upside down canvas. So as you can see, my containers are Elizabeth Ward, or at least it is a fake Elizabeth Ward, I think. What else do we work with? I have my trays from Bella Art Nicole, but I also have one from Unimate that I use if I have a lot of one color. Right now I am using the teeny tiny one. And then I have 2 pair of tweezers. These black tweezers I use to remove drills, and I use these to pick up new putty. And these I use when I place the drills. They aren't really sharp, so I can use them to remove, the drills from the canvas, but they are amazing at placing drills. For pens, I am mostly using these 3 at the moment. This is from Simply Tours. It has the red wax in it that comes with most canvases, and I use this for ABs. Then I have these 2 from Enabler's Outpost. They match the canvas. Yeah, this is a thermal pen. that usually both colors are a bit darker, but it is so warm in Denmark. So the past, I don't know, week or so, it's been like this. This is also an Enablers Outpost. This is the pen that I traded with Edward, where I knitted him a Gryffindor scarf, and I got this. In this one, I have a metallic four-placer. It is nice and thin. I will try to remember to put in the link for these. I got the link from Katie. Yeah, and I actually really like these, but I found out that on this canvas, I need to be very careful if I'm multiplacing. Plus, most of this you can't. I mean, no. What do I have in this one? I think I have glue dots, and I have a glue dot in this one, and this one is empty right now, since I am mostly single placing. What else do I have? I don't know. I don't think I have anything else that I'm using. So right now I am down here. There's a white edge all around this painting, and that's what I've been working on. So yeah, let's get on to it. How are you doing today? I hope you are having an amazing day. I've been so tired because usually on Tuesdays I get up a little earlier to go to the care facility where my mother-in-law lives now, to take her to, some training that they do with elderly people here in Denmark, where they sit on chairs, and that is to keep them moving. Most times when you move into these care facilities, you end up just sitting a lot, and of course that isn't good for the body, no matter what age you have. And I know my mother-in-law, if anybody she doesn't know very, very well comes in and say, hey, we have this chair training, do you want to join? She is very antisocial. So I know, well, we all know, of course, that she just say no. Even though she really wants to, but because it's somebody she doesn't know asking her, she will just say no. So I decided some weeks ago that then I will go down there every Tuesday for, a considerable time to take her to this training. So far, it's been successfully only once, because last week she was dead asleep when I arrived down there, and today we kind of assumed it would be the same, because there is this system where relatives can go in and see, how their relations have been doing in a shift. And the night shift kind of wrote that she's been up all night asking for food and talking about how she needs to go back to her deceased husband because he was waiting for her. And in the morning she was like, I need to go home because my kids has to go to school. Yeah, it's been many, 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 many years since any of her kids had to go to school. I know you can imagine that. So yeah, we kind of looked at each other and look, yeah, I don't need to go because you will most likely sleep. She's always been like this, which is something that they need to learn at this care facility. She has always been a night owl. She has always been eating during the night. So she's awake and she's asking for food. Which is, how she's been living for the past, I don't know how many years. I mean, I've known her for 20, and she's been like that all the time. I mean, and David told me that it's been like this for the longest time he can remember. And you don't really change a person, a way that they have been living for, I don't know, at least 35 years, even longer maybe. But yeah, so I was kind of looking at David, and he looked at me and like, yeah, I don't think you need to go down there. So I got up an hour early for nothing. Well, it's okay. I just took a nap while David was out riding his bike. So yeah, and then I have been sleeping quite a lot of the afternoon as well. I don't know why, I've just been really tired. Maybe, I'm not sure. I have to ask the nurse when she's calling me next time. Because I am weaning off of my methadone, and I'm not really sure of all the withdrawal symptoms I can have. I just know that I'm tired. So I need to ask her. I don't know if you remember last week's Wip Chat, which ended up being on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, where I talked about that Wednesday evening I was going to try this ear acupuncture. It's called NADA here in Denmark. And that I was, quite um, nervous about it because one, I have a phobia against needles, and also I don't like people touching my ears. So that was the two things that she had to do I don't like. So I was a little apprehensive, but it actually went just fine. Um, she both got to touch my ears and she got to put in the needles. I will put in a picture of one of my ears right here so that you can see how it looks. So when I got these pictures, I was really, huh. So that's where they were, because I had a feeling that at least some of these needles were sitting somewhere completely different on my ears. So that is so, I'm like, I know that this happens because whenever I have to have blood drawn, they do that here at the elbow, but every time they do that, I have the feeling that they're putting the needle in here instead. And I know they're not, but it feels like that. So I know that, my nerves are kind of screwed, which is normal when you have nerve pain, and eventually your nerves just goes haywire. So I know that, but it was still a little, huh? I did not see that one coming. So yeah, that was, and it didn't really hurt a lot. I mean, she did have to twist one of the needles a little. I don't know if you've ever tried this before, but if the needle gives you pain and it stays for a longer time, they can kind of turn it a little or twist it a little, and that way, it should be better. And I had one of the needles giving me a headache, not, a splitting headache where you couldn't function at all. I just started to get a headache just in my temple. And I told her, and then she came over and turned it just a little, which it helped me immediately. Because I hate having headaches. I wonder if I need to change this glue dot soon. I did use it for almost the entire secret garden painting, so maybe it's about to be done. So yeah, I already booked the time for tomorrow. I talked to her about this weaning of my methadone, and if I would have any withdrawal symptoms, if she would be able to help me, because the pain clinic told me about how this ear acupuncture would be a possible remedy against withdrawal symptoms. So I wrote her and told her, okay, this is what's happening in my life right now, and the pain clinic told me so and so. I don't know if it is any special needle or if they're all placed the same way every time. And she told me, no, actually one of the needles can be placed one of two places in the ear, and that other one would actually help if you had withdrawal symptoms. And that she actually were happy that I wrote it to her so that, she could help me if it was needed. So yeah, now I know that if needed, something can be done, because I'm not gonna ride in my car 1 hour to the pain clinic and 1 hour home again for, I don't know, an hour or so. I mean, that's 2 hours of transportation for 1 hour of I don't know what. The funny thing is, I mean, I have this channel because I like to talk, and when you're having these needles placed in your ears, you're supposed to be silent for almost an hour. Can you imagine me being silent for an hour? Oh dear God. That was actually almost the hardest thing of it. I mean, I closed my eyes and I listened to the birds, to the wind in the trees, and just sounds around me, which was I love that. I usually do that every now and then, but I don't think I've ever done it for 45 minutes. But there were swallows on the roof. There were blackbirds. There were, oh, so many little birds to listen to. And there were, wind everywhere. And I just love listening to the sounds of the nature, and sometimes guessing, I wonder where this comes from, and I wonder where that's coming from. So eventually the 45 minutes went, and she removed the needles again. And I actually lost one of the needles. It fell out. um, and she told me that actually happens sometimes, and they don't really know why. I asked if it was because that the needle and the body actually were like, okay, you're not needed here anymore. But no, she said no. Sometimes it's just the ear that doesn't have a firm grip of the needle or something like that. She was like, yeah, and sometimes it's kind of the other way around. The ear doesn't really want to let go of the needle again. And I have just felt that because you were trying to remove one of the needles, and I could feel how the ear actually kind of pulled it against it instead of. Why? I hate when this happens. So she had to tug it a little more because it was actually almost sucked back into the ear again. It was like, wait, what? No, I know it can't suck it all the way in, but it was a little weird that your ear is trying to suck in a needle. But yeah, it was interesting, and I was so tired when I came home. I need to ask her tomorrow if that's normal. Most of you who has been here a while know that I am quite the night owl due to my husband's work hours. He is a truck driver, and he works evenings and nights. So he goes to work at around 4 p.m. and will be home at around 3 p.m. most nights. Sometimes earlier and sometimes later. It depends on when he gets his truck and how far around he has to go. So yeah, and I kind of follow his rhythm. I mean, I try to go to bed at around 2 a.m. I'm not always successful in that because I get pulled into a book or people that I'm talking to online, or I'm busy diamond painting. Sometimes times just grabs me and I'm not really aware what's happening around me. So yeah. Anyway, where was I going? Oh yeah. So usually I don't go to bed before around 2 a.m. in the morning. But last Wednesday, after the needles and everything, I was tired and was ready to go to bed at around 11 p.m. And I was like, wait, what? This is way too early. I mean, I just took my evening medication. I mean, I still have to wait for my night medication at 1:30 a.m. So I can't go to bed already. It's way too early. But I was so tired. I was sitting there snoozing a little while waiting for it being time for me to go to bed and take my night medication. I ended up taking it a little earlier and go to bed at around 1. But oh, I was tired, and I need to ask her if that's normal, because she was more like, "How are you doing now?" And some of the things that it might help. Um, like for instance, if I had a bad sleeping habit, it could help with that. But also, me overthinking everything is something that might be better with this over time. She told me that some people just need one session of ear acupuncture, where others might need 20 before they feel any change. So I have to see what's going to happen. She has this special price until September, when she is done with her education for this. Until then, I have to pay at around $3 a time, so $3 per session, which is a very, very good price. If you find a cheap one here in Denmark, you have to pay around $10, but some of them is more like $15, $18 a session. I don't know if that is expensive for you or cheap. I don't know. But I am very, very happy with the $3. And I really hope that she'll be on the around $10 price when she's done, because that I can do, once a week or something. If it's much higher, then I won't be able to pay it. I mean, I am on disability. I don't have an endless amount of money. But we'll see. Maybe it'll turn out that I don't need it in around 3.5 months from now. I mean, I know that I'll be weaned off of my medication. See, I knew that one wasn't good. It has a tab on it. Yes. So yeah, when I began this weaning of my methadone, I took 4 pills a day, and I am now down to 3. So it's going there. This week I have to remove a half one again. and then do that for around 1 week, and then remove a half pill again next week somewhere. So next week, when I have my Wip Chat, I'll be working on going down to 2 pills a day. And I don't know what the word will be, a little apprehensive. I talked to David about this the other day. Like, I was more than sure that this going down to 3 pills a day would be quite easy, because I've had a tendency of forgetting my medication every now and then. So I was fairly certain that, the removal of the first pill would be okay. But after that, I'd be, I wonder how this will be. But we'll see. I have a question for you all, and please answer it down below, because I'm quite curious. How do you work on a square like this? Do you go from... sorry. Oh! Do you go from one end of your tray system to the other? I mean, for instance, the first one in my tray is number 4, then number 5, then 8, 9, and then goes the alphabet. Or do you have another system? Because I do see some 4s and some 5s, but how do you work on it? Do you go by the symbol you see the clearest, or... I know people do it differently, so I would love to know how you are doing it. Because I am working from, this is number 4, this is 841. So I don't have my containers in DMC order anymore. I used to do that, which was quite interesting, because I had to look for the symbol every time until I got a good grip of them. But with this system that I'm doing now, that numbers and letters, and first I have the big letters, and then after those I have small letters. And it helps me. Then when I get to the symbols, those are in DMC order. We do all have our little systems, right? That's at least how I do it, but I would love to know. See, I have a few ones here. See, when I have a few ones where I'm uncertain if they have tabs or something, I have my magnifiers to help me remove it. And this is where Berta would tell me that I am picky, which I am very, very aware of, but I do not want taps on my drills. I don't know if you'd be able to see it even. I've tried to show you before, I think, without any success. But yeah. Oh, that is. And we have a twin. See, those would not have been able to place. And we have one here with a lot of tab. Oh, and we have a little thing here. So, yeah. And I might just be very, very picky, but I am a perfectionist, so my drills has to be laying perfect. I could see it down there with the white one. I saw it right away that for some reason, darn it, I did it again. It didn't fit. It pushed up against the other drill. See, there's one here as well. And this one have holes in it. I was just looking if this is one of those colors that I had issues with earlier. I mean, I do hope that there is enough drills that I don't run out. Otherwise, I'll have to contact Enabler's Outpost, which I'm sure will be no issue at all. I don't know if they've have had any issues with this before. I don't know. Come on. But yeah, let's get all these into my trash. I don't know. Tell me down below, how picky are you when it comes to your drills? I mean, do you remove all those with tabs on them, or do you feel like, yeah, it doesn't matter really? Because I would love to know. I'm curious like that, you know? Because it might be that I am just very, very picky. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit to that. But apparently it is very different how we are as diamond painters. I do know that some of my followers are just as picky as me, and I do have followers who just meh, you know, it's about the process, which it is. But it is hard to just say it doesn't matter when you're a highly perfectionist as I am. I am trying to do better with not, everything has to be that perfect. But apparently I'm not doing very well with diamond paintings. I don't know why it's so hard for me in this regard. I am also working on it in my knitting. I mean, if it's for other people, I will frog it if I have made mistakes. If it's, for a dishcloth or something like that, and it isn't something that you see right away, I'll let it be. But if it's a big mistake and you'll be able to see it within a second or so, I will remove those as well. Maybe it's just, my creative work where I can't just say, nah, I don't know. How many of you do other sorts of crafts? And if you're picky with your diamond painters, are you then also picky with your other craft? That would be interesting to find out. If it's just a diamond painting related pickiness, or if it's a general pickiness, if you can say it like that. Yeah, that would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? I know we're all so different, and I love it. I mean, it would be so boring if all of us were the same, right? I mean, I'm quite happy with being me with all my little quirks and everything. And I do know that I have quirks. I know very well that I am nothing like everybody else, which is good. I mean, why would I want to be like everybody else? I don't know. Why? I can't remember who I talked who I was talking with about this, but you sometimes see these pictures on Facebook where you will like get a blue pill and a red pill, And one of the colors would be like go back in time and with all your memories as of today and change the things that you would wish you had done differently. Like, for example, health issues and education and stuff like that. Or you will get with the other color pill, you would get an enormous high amount of money. And people always assume that I would go back in time and change the things that I have done that, made my life more painful. And I'm always like, no, I wouldn't. Why not? You would have a better life and less pain and I don't know what. And I would usually say, yeah, but I wouldn't be me. If I changed all these things, I would not be me. I would be a different person. I would be a different place in my life. And who knows, I might not have met the people that I have in my life today. I might not have met David. I might not have met, the people I consider friends or family. I wouldn't have made this channel because even though I still have my clipper fail syndrome, I might not have been, so bad off that I would think about doing a channel to tell other people about my life with a chronic degenerative disease. And also, who knows? I mean, yeah, I would have known because I would go back in time with the knowledge I have today. I have to change this one. Where are all my glue dots? There. So I would have, of course, make sure that I knew and, made sure that I was diagnosed very, very much earlier than I was originally diagnosed. See, I got my diagnosis when I was 33. Yeah, 33. And I should have had that diagnosis as a child, which then, of course, would have meant that I had done a lot of things differently. But then again, hold on, I would have, made so many different choices in my life that I wouldn't be sure that I would be me, you know? I have an old glue dot stuck. So yeah, actually I wouldn't change one thing about, my life because I actually like my life just as it is, pain and all. It makes me me. But I would be very interested in knowing, how about you? Would you take the pill that takes you back in time to, with all the knowledge you have today, would you then go back in time and change some of these things that you don't really like or that would make you better off or anything like that? Would you? Or would you feel like you're good enough as you are? I don't know. It sounds bad when I say it like that. I mean, what do you want to change? Hold on. Do you want to change the person you are, or do you want to be a different person? I mean, and it also sounds kind of bad when I say that I would take the money, which again, I wouldn't really. I mean, I just don't want to be another person because I really like this person that I am today. But yeah. But I would be interested in in hearing what you would choose. See, now I got the pop again. Thank you. But I need to figure out if I need to remove more of the glue dot. So yeah, no matter what, I am who I am, and I really like the person that I am most of the time. I am quite, interested in seeing who I'll be when I've been weaned off the medication they want to wean me off, and then put me into the medication they want to put me in, to see how that might change things. Yeah, that'll be quite interesting. I mean, it's not going to change me as a person, I know that, but I might end up having less pain than I have been in for the longest time. That will be, kind of interesting. My shoulder, I have the feeling that my shoulder needs to pop or something like that, and I can't get it to. I wonder if you can ever hear when I'm popping some of the muscles in my neck and back. I mean, if you were here, you would certainly be able to hear it, but I never know if you can hear it in the videos. I don't know. Maybe I should ask David one day to hold the camera very close to my back or neck when I crack it. And it doesn't hurt it doesn't hurt me. It's actually kind of relieving, if that even makes any sense to you. It's kind of like when do you remember when you were popping your fingers to kind of relieve it when you were younger? I don't know if you still do it, when you were like doing like this to pop it. It's kind of the same that I'm doing, just with my neck and my shoulders, mostly my shoulders and the upper part of my back. But yeah, David told me in the beginning that he was scared that I was, breaking something. But no, I'm just kind of popping muscles or something. I remember many years ago, this has to be before I got my diagnosis. I actually think it was after I've been to this arthritis hospital. We have a few of those here in Denmark. And a lot of training, and I loved it. I was there for 3 weeks, and I could have stayed there for 3 more. So the doctors and trainers there were like, there is something wrong with your shoulders. And I was like, darn, yeah, I know that. Because they kind of hurt my cracking shoulder blades as well. People are always freaked out the first time they hear it. I don't know why. Also, because I told them that I could pop my shoulders out of its socket and then pop it right back in, they were like, that's not normal. Yeah, I know that, but it feels good. So I needed to go to oh darn it, what is the name of these specialists? Those that do everything with bones. Not cardiologist, that's the heart. It's, what's the name of it? Have you ever seen Grey's Anatomy? It's Kelly. She's that doctor. She's oh darn it. I guess you know what I mean. The people that, takes care of if you have popped your hip or your something that you needed to put it back where it belongs. I guess you know what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I I went to one of those doctors at the hospital. I just had a fall. Where did it go? Um, and talked to them, and they took a lot of pictures, and I don't know what, and they felt all over my shoulders, and I scared that poor doctor again when I'm cracked my because he was doing something, and it made me feel like, oh, I need to go pop again. And he had his hands on my shoulders when I did it, and he almost fell back in his chair, and I was like, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but my shoulder needed it. And he was like, did you just pop them out of their sockets? Like, nope. I just released some tension in my shoulders and in my upper spine. And he was like, I've never heard that before. I've never seen that before. Yeah, well, I don't think there are very many of me out there. Um, so yeah, he had to take new radiation pictures where I was, you know, doing that movement and kept it, so he could see what was going on. And it turned out that all these little thingies that keep the shoulder blade stuck to where it's supposed to be were stuck the wrong way. if you understand what I'm meaning. Um, so basically, what he wanted to do in the beginning was that he wanted to operate and then remove all these little things that hold the shoulder blades, and then put them on the right way. Which in my world were like, wait, what? That is a big surgery because it would have to be both shoulder blades. And I asked him, is that a very good idea when I'm also hypermobile? Which means that is why I can pop them out of the socket just like that. And he asked his supervisor and all the other experts, both on that hospital and on the big university hospitals, and they all came back saying, no, that would be a very bad idea because, how was it they explained it? I would harden this area around my shoulder blades to less movement because of the surgery, but the rest of the muscles and tendons around it would still be hypermobile, so it would make a lot of trouble in that area. So they decided that that wasn't a good idea anyway. So they couldn't really do anything other than find it an interesting case, which is what I have been considered as in many, 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 many years by now. I don't know how many doctors that have told me you are in a rare and interesting case, but we can't do anything for you. You just have to you just have to live with it. Do you know how I hate when people tell that to me? You just have to live with it. Yeah, I'm not very good at that, especially when they're like, oh, you're such an interesting case. I have never seen anything like this before, but I can't help you, so you just have to live with it. Um, I don't know how many people I have been dying to smack over the years. I mean, yes, there isn't a whole lot that people can do to help me even now when I have my diagnosis, but now at least I know why. I know why it is so hard to do anything to make me feel better, but at least now that I have my diagnosis, I got to go to the pain clinic, and they have given me medication that actually works. I mean, now I'm there for the second time, but the first time around, the medicine lasted for about 10 years. So, I mean, I know I've never see there's another 4 right there. I never expected to be P. That is something very different, right? To be completely pain-free. I have never expected that because, I mean, I have a degenerative illness, disease, affliction, something. I never know what to call it. So yeah, it isn't a disability because it really just means that I am differently able. Yeah, I'm not disabled, I'm differently able. I've always been saying it like that, but I don't know if it's a handicap, a disability, a illness. An illness, no, because illness is something you get over. Anyway, I'm chatting again here. See, I told you I would, chat your ears off for a while. And I'm getting way, way, way all the way around you. So yeah, I don't really like that when people tell me I just have to live with it. I mean, I feel like smacking people. I don't know for how many times when I went to different hospital wards and stuff like that, different specialties, and they all told me pretty much the same. You're a special case, but we don't know how to help you. You just have to live with it. I mean, the first 5 times, yes, okay. But the next 200, not so much. No. At least now nobody tells me just I'm an interesting case, but they can't help me. Which, now I know they can't help me because there isn't anything to do. As long as nobody is putting money into research to figure out how to help around, I don't know how many people in the world, but I mean it's 1 in every 42,000 people that is born with this, and most of those will never know because they don't have, pain or mobility issues. So it's more like 5% of those that would need, maybe 10%, I don't know. But most of the people with my syndrome don't ever need help of any kind because they don't know they have it. So the people that they need to research for is a very, very, very small group. I mean, would it even be worth it for me? Yes, absolutely. But would it be worth it for these researchers when the group is so small? They would rather, use their time to research cancer or diabetes or I don't know what, big groups, I mean, even today, they rarely use any resources on researching Down syndrome, for example, because there are so very few children born with it anymore, so they don't really research it. So much of that information that parents get is very, very old. And, things change, so that old research might not be accurate anymore. And I don't know. I mean, I would wish we could do something, to change it so that every infliction, every syndrome, every disease would be, looked into. But, the issue is that there isn't money in that. I mean, they would lose more money than they would earn by looking into my syndrome, because there are so few of us out there that need it. Or if they did it, it would be very, very expensive, and most likely the system don't want to pay it, so you'd end up paying a gazillion dollars yourself to get that medication or whatever they'll find out that could help you. I mean, insurance and I don't know what. I don't think that they would even consider covering it. Do I have any more fives? If not, I'll find it in a second whenever I put it away, just like the 4 I just found. Sorry. Oh, this yawning is driving me crazy. How long? Okay. I just needed to see how long I've been going. And then there was a message on my phone and I was like, oh God, did it stop? But no, it didn't. Oh, I have to tell you, Rosa was visiting her kindergarten where she's beginning in a few months. July, I think. Hold on. Our system here in Denmark is quite a lot different than I know in the US. We have the daycare system for kids between 0 and 3 years old. Most kids don't start until they are around 1 year old. Then when they are around 3 years old, they go to kindergarten, where they stay until they begin in school at around 6 years old. Depending on what side of Christmas or New Year's they're born, they either start just around their 6th birthday or after their 6th birthday. School starts in August, so that means that Rosa turns 6 in June, so she will begin school just a few months after her 6th birthday, whereas my birthday is in September and school started in August, so I didn't turn 6 until after school began. And then some kids were like, they had their birthday in November, so they would have, they would be in school for 4 months before they started before they got to turn 6. And then the other way around is that if you're born in January or February, you would already be 6 when you began school in August again. I don't know if it makes any sense to you, but the system is a bit different over here. So kindergarten is where she's going in July, I think. So my brother sent me a bunch of pictures from her visit today. And it looks like she had a great time. She was playing with the other kids and, getting shown around by the adults there. And she looked like, she had a lot of fun playing with the bigger kids. And I think that she's going to love having that many other kids to play with. Because in the daycare system that she's in now, there is not very many kids. Most of them, there's two types of daycare systems. There is one where you are in a private home where they can have 4 or 5 kids depending on what the city decides you have room for. And then there is the daycare system that is connected to a kindergarten. So usually you go from the daycare to the kindergarten in the same building, which is amazing because then you know the building, you know the adults, everything. But Rosa has been in the daycare system in a private home. So there hasn't been a lot of kids. And sometimes she was the youngest, and right now she's one of the oldest. So she needs to, go out there and meet other kids to play with. So, yeah, it's going to be so good for her. And she is going to develop so much when she begins there because that's a certain thing that happens when kids go to kindergarten. They just, sorry again. Oh, the yawning is crazy today. They have so much new happening in their lives, and they get to meet older kids again. So they develop like crazy in a very short amount of time, which is I can't wait to see how she'll develop when she gets to be with all these bigger kids. Oh, the yawning is driving me crazy today. But yeah, that's in a second, I feel like. It's in a month or so. Oh, wow. I'm like, oh yeah, we're in June right now. She has her birthday on on Wednesday. Not tomorrow, but next Wednesday. Yeah, she and my brother is having a shared birthday on Saturday, on the 17th, and her birthday is on the 21st. So yeah, her birthday will be Wednesday. I was sitting here, wait, is that on Monday when she's here? I was confusing myself for a second, but no. Wednesday is her birthday, and she's going to be a big girl, 3 years old. Oh dear, time flies. She was just born. Darn it. I can't imagine it. How can she... I had one there. Sometimes I'm sitting here like, she was just born. How can she be 3 already? I still have all her baby pictures, and she can't be 3. She was here yesterday, of course, it was Monday. And, hold on. I had to pick her up from a guest daycare because her normal daycare woman, was at some medication. So I picked her up somewhere else than usual. And when I came there and Rosa came out, she had been sleeping up until almost when I picked her up. And when she came out that sleeping room that they usually have in these homes, she just lit up. And she didn't say much while we were still in the house, but practically the moment we stepped out the house, she talked the entire way home. And she's so funny because she was like, when we get home, and I asked her, so when you get home to Dad? No, Auntie, when we come home to you. So when we go home to you and Uncle. And I was like, oh, that is so sweet. She's actually saying home in our home as well. So I was a little, aw. But, she's been coming here since she was about 1 year old, So, of course, this is home to her as well. The same is, my parents. Their home is her home as well. But I think it's one of the first times that she has really said we're going home. where, you know, she was conscious about it. And I just melted, you know. Like, oh, so what do you want when we go home? When we get home? Yeah, I want ice cream, and then blah blah blah. And what is Uncle doing? I said, Uncle might be crawling on the roof. No, Uncle can't do that. So why can't he do that? That is that is dangerous. That isn't safe. I said, you're right, but I think Uncle is, you know, trying to be very careful. I'm gonna yell at him to come down. I was like, okay, you can do that. And then when we came home, she looked up on the roof and she was like, oh, Uncle isn't up there. I don't have to yell at him. Ah, she's so cute. But then I could see the hose that he was using to clean the roof of the garage was still there. So I was like, okay, he might be on the other side of the house. Why won't this one let go? I've dirtied it up like a gazillion times. So we went through the garage and the David's shop to get to the garden. It's driving me crazy, this. And he was in the garden watering some flowers and stuff. And when we got through David's garage, I think it's because the glue isn't really good right here. Rosa saw that David's moped, I think is the word for it. It isn't a scooter, but you know, when that was in front of the freezer. So she went out there and looked at him, and she was looking at the blueberries because we had just talked about, you know, that the strawberries, the forest strawberries, was ready to be consumed. At least some of them were. And then she was talking about the blueberries, that she want blueberries too. So we, you know, looked at the blueberries and I showed her, you see, there's the little blueberries, but they're not ready yet because they are still green. I wonder if this is supposed to be a D or whatever. Hold on. It is. Okay. It just had a weird D. It didn't look like a D. So we took a look at the blueberries, and she could see that they are still green. So you know, we couldn't eat those yet. Which was, you know, she understood that. She just needed to see it. And then, you know, she told Uncle that he needed to move his moped so that she could get the ice cream. Which he did, and he took out the ice cream. And then when we came in, you know, asked her if she wanted to remove the chair and pull over her own chair so that she could get ice cream. And then she kind of looked at me. I think we'll have to wait a little with that ice cream. And it was like, but Rosa, then we didn't need to bring it into the house. Then it needs to be in the freezer again. Okay, Auntie. She's funny, that one. So I had to go back out in the garage, no, in the shop, and put the ice in the freezer again. And yeah. So then David left for work, and I asked her, what do you want to do? I mean, usually when he leaves for work, last year, she wanted to go out and eat the strawberries right away. But yesterday she was like, oh, I want to go inside and watch some Paw Patrol. Again, she had been watching some Paw Patrol up until David left. And so we went in again and watched some more Paw Patrol. And, you know, played a little with the figurines that she have of them. And then I had asked my brother, you know, what time would he want to have her home, and he said around 5 p.m. Say, okay, we'll be there around that time. And because it was so hot, you know, I asked if she wanted some cucumber from the refrigerator, because those would be nice and cold. And yes, she would love that. In fact, she ended up eating half of a cucumber all by herself just because it was so nice and cold. When she then wanted more, I was like, no, I don't think you should have more because you need to go home to Daddy and eat dinner with him. She wasn't really convinced that that was something that she had to do, but Auntie won that one. And then 2 seconds before we needed to leave, she wanted ice cream. Of course she did. Um, so I told her, we'll go outside and have some of the strawberries you haven't had, and then we go home to Daddy. And that was okay with her. So that's the Rosa story, and I have now been chatting for 1 hour and almost 11 minutes. So I guess I better end this one because for some reason my Wip chats always end up being longer than 1 hour. Sorry. Anyway, please give my video a thumbs up before you leave and answer all my questions down below in the comment field. And sorry again. Oh, have somebody counted how many times I yawned? Because I lost count. Again, if you're new here and you like this Wip chat and all the chit chat that I'm talking about, everything and nothing, just you could choose the subscribe button right down there, ding the bell, choose all, and you'll be notified whenever I put up a new video. Yay, if you do that. And please share my videos and my channels with other people. I have a goal to reach 350 subscribers, which at that time I have a surprise. I wonder what it'll be. I mean, I know, but do you wonder what it'll be? Anyway, I have to go now before I end up have been talking for 3 hours. But it was so good to see you here. Thank you for being here. Again, I hope you all know how much I appreciate you being here. And until my next video, bye everybody. Bye. Love you.